about talking about energy healing and meditation, and she's also teaching Reiki since 2008. I hear you actually working with somebody, with a mindset specialist in the area of addiction, right?
Yes, I am.
Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah. Yeah, so some people may have heard of him. His name's Chris Hill, and through his own experiences, he's actually created this 7-step formula to beat your addiction. So he's actually called Beat My Addictions, and it's with Chris Hill. What I found was Chris started sending people who were going through the withdrawal process once they make the decision to give up alcohol or cigarettes or whatever, to come and try my morning meditations out. And what I found was that one of the persons I spoke to that did it, he said to me, I was, because with alcohol addiction, when you let go of, when you're detoxing through alcohol, you get sweat all the time. He said in order to control the sweating, he was doing my meditation 4 times a day. So, I made a joke out of it. I said, so 4 times meditation as opposed to medication. But that's what worked for him, and it helped him to stay calm, cope with the sweating, and help him through the whole process of detoxing. And he's been alcohol-free for months. And it's that simple. And then I discovered that bringing this aspect of connecting to yourself, feeling that inner connection, was really helping them. Because for a lot of people, any form of addiction is a form of self-sabotage. And your mind will help you stay in that sabotage state. When the mind takes over, it's really hard for the heart to get in. So what Chris does, he really focuses on the mindset, and he really gets you to understand the mindset of addiction and how he uses self-talk to keep you strong through the whole process. And so what we're doing is we're looking at how to bring the mindset and the heart together through the whole process. And we're looking at we're working on a project together to put something together where we do both, where we get people to a stage of a decision, and then we deal with the fears, we deal with the energies that arise, and we release as much of it as possible and transform it to make the process a lot easier to go through. So that's what we're working on. But, we're working on it at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because I personally have read about how meditation helps you overcome a lot of things, and maybe addiction is one of the things you can sort of learn to sort of
yes,
sort of let yourself through meditation actually. And maybe I was reading about one of I don't know, probably in the newspaper or something, how it has helped people sort of cut down even the medication. It's confusing myself with meditation. By just sort of being more mindful, being more aware of it, and it's all through meditation.
Yeah, exactly. It's about, because like with everything, if you want to cut down on something, you have to be aware of how it affects you. And it's going to affect you on a physical level. It's going to affect you on an emotional level. It's going to affect you on a mental level. And there's going to be a level of attachment to all these things that you have to learn to become aware of and let go of. So this is part of like the energy healing work I do. I work on all those different levels. We have to open up the can of worms to let them out and heal it. Until we do that, we're not going to get rid of the stuff in the foundation that's blocking us from moving forwards. And meditation is a great way to connect. Mindfulness is actually being used in a lot of services now in addictions, where they're starting to explore mindfulness as a way of helping people cope with change. But it's not just coping with change, it's actually coping with your thoughts, feelings, and emotions around it all. That's really important.
Yeah. So big is the heart movement in your experience of interviewing people? Like when you come across people?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Like, how big is the heart movement in your experience of interviewing people?
The heart experience?
Yes. Like
okay.
Being combined. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, because the heart is different for everyone. But are you talking about addiction specifically, or are you talking about anything?
No, I'm just talking generally. Addiction could be part of it, yes.
So generally, so most of us have grown up with conditional love. It's very rare you meet somebody whose parents have been completely unconditionally loving towards them. So everything we do in life is created by what we've been trained with, what our conditionings have been. So most people are lacking that true sense of being loved unconditionally. And what I find when I'm working with people is I bring a lot of unconditional love into the healing process. So it's all about connecting to love. It's all about connecting to it on a very unconditional way, so free of judgment, free of fear, free of feeling it's about complete acceptance of who you are. Because when we've gone through different life experiences, and if we've done anything negative, there's going to be a level of guilt, a level of you don't deserve this. But actually, we all deserve to be happy. We all deserve to experience unconditional love, because our true nature is unconditional love. And so what I find is most people aren't connected to that part of them, that part that is pure unconditional love. I do that in my morning meditations as well. Occasionally, I'll put up a meditation of just connecting to pure unconditional love. And that allows you to just connect to who you truly are. And when you start experiencing that, that's when you start wanting to change your life again.
It's hard to reconnect with their true selves, right?
But it's about not just that, it's about learning to experience unconditional love. I can say for years I never understood what it meant until I started going really deeply into this spiritual healing stuff, because healing isn't about healing people's illnesses. It's about healing you to become whole again. Because if you're whole, you don't get ill, because you don't have negative vibrations making you ill. And that's basically what it's all about. It's about how do I get myself into a place where I feel good inside no matter what's going on around me. And that's the key. It's about being peaceful inside. It's about feeling unconditional love inside. And than anything else.
And I think people can only find that or really reconnect with themselves is through spending time with themselves. I mean, that's my personal experience. Because sometimes we forget, we just crack on with life, we just forget what we probably need that time out from everything else to reconnect with ourselves and find ourselves. And not many people give themselves that time of the day. And that's
no, they don't.
Fall ill, or they're stressed out, or they get addicted to drugs and drinks. And it's all kind of connected, isn't it? So maybe, yes, it definitely makes sense for somebody like me, because I went through my personal experience. I felt like a couple of years ago when I was so busy in the rut of life, like running from one place to the other, busy with the kids. I never gave time to myself. And only after my experience, I kind of sort of told myself, this is it. I can't carry on with life like this. I have to have the place and time for myself, regardless of how busy I am with everybody around me. And this is when I've created a lifestyle where I wake up early in the morning, I spend that half an hour to myself, and then I go and have my walks in the morning and have my meditation. Sometimes I just sit in the park and do my meditation, and it's so peaceful and it's so tranquilizing. It's like it's completely out of the world. I can't even explain it to anybody.
And that's exactly what it's all about. You'd be well, you probably wouldn't be surprised, but the number of times I've worked with females who are mothers who say, oh, or are married, and they say, oh, but I've got to do this for my children, I've got to do this for my husband, and, oh, they won't give me the time or space to do it. And I said, well, you have to make that time. You have to say, this is me time. And, and it's, women are so selfless in that way that people forget that we need time to ourselves. And actually, we are responsible for making that happen for ourselves.
We put everybody above us. We sometimes forget ourselves in the process.
Absolutely.
Sometimes that's what creates all these illnesses and all this. That's from my personal experience, anyway. But I've learned to slow down and just take things as they come along. And being on this meditation journey for quite a while now, my mom has been quite a big influence from a very young age, and I think that probably helped me recover quite quickly and get back to normal. Yeah, definitely. But it was like a blessing in disguise, telling me, okay, slow down, woman. You don't need to be the robot doing one thing, jumping from one thing to the next. You need to take time out, and I did.
Absolutely, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's brilliant that you did that, because so many people don't give themselves the gift of having time for themselves. And that is a real gift. The best thing you can do for yourself is have this time with you to connect with you.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm actually getting my kids into it. I don't do it on a regular basis, but before sometimes I'm like, okay, let's sit down for 5 minutes. They sometimes laugh through it, but even like the practice of sitting down for 5 minutes now, I think it's good enough.
Yeah, and you know what? It works wonderfully with kids. I remember doing it with my cousin's daughter, and when first time we did it, she just sat down and she listened to what I did, and she sat down, and then like the next day she came to me and she went, "Can we do meditation again?" Because it made her feel good inside. And, at the time we were going, her grandfather had just died. So, there was a lot of like grief and stuff around the place. But she was connecting through meditation, and she was only like 4 years old. But, kids are great. They do respond to it. And if it's something that you teach them from a young age, they respond to that. I gave her a crystal. She chose her own crystal. And I said to her, let's do some healing with it. And my cousin tells me that even years afterwards, she kept that crystal in a safe place, and she would every so often pick it up and do some healing with it. And it's a great way for them to just connect with themselves and feel good inside again.
Yeah, definitely. So what kind of work has inspired you the most?
What has inspired me the most?
Yes.
In terms of what I do?
Yes, in terms of what you do.
Okay. Right. Well, as you know, I guess I was inspired by the fact that I was disillusioned with culture from a young age, and I couldn't understand why people would say one thing and do another and expected us to do things they weren't doing. I was an atheist before I took up meditation. Do you see what I'm saying? And I think what inspires me the most is I don't know how I came across the idea, but from my teenage years, I just suddenly started saying, as long as I'm not hurting anyone, I can do as I like. Now, at that time, I didn't realize how powerful that was. And it's about getting that level of understanding. And on that basis, I guess my father would have inspired me the most. Whenever we went to him to ask questions about life, he would say to us, well, think about it and you'll get the answer. He was never saying, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. He wasn't laying down the law on us just because we were females. He actually encouraged us to think about it for ourselves and come up with the answers. And I think that's my earliest influence, my earliest inspiration is being given that freedom to have time to just think for ourselves. And I guess it's part of me, and maybe that's why I don't think about what's most inspiring, because I find a lot of things inspiring. I get inspired by like the movement of peace by Gandhi, by Nelson